Hello everyone, Enchanted Emerald. This is Melissa bringing you a reading here today for Wednesday, July 26, 2023. And today I want to talk to you guys about this Venus retrograde in Leo. Okay, so this is something that's definitely going to be impacting us when it comes to our love life, when it comes to our relationships. And so this is happening. It actually started on the 22nd and it's going to be happening all the way through September 3rd. And so this is going to be highlighting the value that we place on ourselves and others, places in our lives, money, and all of these things are going to be coming up to be healing at this time, okay? And I do feel like this is going to be leading to feeling waves of sadness where you could be feeling not as fulfilled as you once were within the relationships particularly. And really this is going to be bringing profound awareness to you in regards to your love, to your intimacy, your worthiness, and your finances, and then realizing, of course, that all of these things are interrelated. So how are these things interrelated? Well, our love and our intimacy can affect us, affect our mood, and our financial intimacy within our relationships can affect the power dynamic, right? And it can lead us to, if we have good financial intimacy, lead us into a space where we have loving cooperation with one another, especially if we were working toward particular goals together. But it could also trigger feelings of inadequacy at times, especially if you are walking into the relationship or began the relationship with feelings of low self-worth. So when you have some low self-worth, you have a tendency to have this as a barrier that will bring in relationships where the power dynamic will be shifted just enough that one person could have more power in the relationship or be more controlling, right? And so especially when it comes to communication and really ultimately one person or another could be identifying their self-worth in regards to their job or their income and their status within the relationship. So this is big stuff that we have here. I do feel like Leo is very strongly affected with this, unfortunately, and I feel like a lot of the fixed signs are, so we're talking about Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius even, and then the Leo, of course. And I feel like this is really moving into a space where we're talking about Leo being like the real MVP, okay? So like Leo really loves the attention, and this is really highlighting for us the aspect here of like, how are you attracting attention to yourself? Are you attracting the right attention? Are your needs being met? So I feel like this is a place where it's time to give credit where credit is due, okay? So that we're talking about like little things even within the relationship. So for those that are in a relationship and things are going right, you could really be feeling a need to be extra grateful or express that openly that you're extra grateful, saying words of appreciation, tokens of appreciation. So buying something to let somebody know how much they mean to you. Those things could be really highlighted at this time, particularly in relationships. And I do feel like you could find yourself really feeling grateful for your person, your significant other, for the routines that you're going through and that they bring to your life, their qualities or attributes as well. So I think that if things are going great in your love life, and if you think that you're totally blissed out and everything's going great, I think that there's a tendency here as well for things to kind of, I don't want to say blow up, but for things to go awry, where there will be lessons presented to you as well, because there's always room for improvement there. So I do feel like it's really going to be highlighting a need for self-compassion. Okay, so where, understanding that, listen, I am perfectly imperfect and I am doing my best, and, really understanding that there's still inner work to be done regardless. Okay, so there's going to be some inner work possibly kind of coming to the surface for you as well. Okay, so I really feel too with this is what's coming up is there are things that are going to be coming up from the past. Now, when we talk about our past experiences kind of molding us and shaping us into who we are, we bring along with it our expectations for our future. And so it's kind of calling into question, have I really gotten myself to a space where I feel like my present has really lived up to those expectations, or am I constantly reshaping those expectations and really trying to reach for more, right? And I feel like things could come up from the past. I mean, this is like case of the exes. You will find, like Mercury retrograde brings, right? People will from your past kind of creep back in. Perhaps they will be messaging you, emailing you, calling you, reaching out to you, really trying to resolve their own inner work as well. And so maybe there's conversations that need to be had, right? I feel like there are things where you could be harboring feelings from the past, and once you have those conversations and bring that forward, to acknowledge it and heal it, you're really allowing yourself the time and space to do that and to move forward with such great momentum, like really propelling you into a new space in terms of your love life. So I think that this is something that you don't want to dismiss. You don't want to like crush those feelings, way back down inside, right? You don't want to push them away, but allow them to come up. Get uncomfortable with that, okay? Because I know those feelings, when they come up, they feel uncomfortable, and we have a tendency to want to distract ourselves and to ignore them and to wait for them to go away, right? Because we don't want to feel that. It is uncomfortable, but if we allow that to come up and allow ourselves to have that conversation, to feel like, why is it that I'm feeling that way still about that person? What happened there? Is there something in my current life that is reminding me of that person? And why am I getting triggered, right? Those type of things can come forward at this time so that you can really get to the root of the cause, so that you can overcome that once and for all, so that you're not repeating the same cycle. You're not drawing in the same patterns and with the same type of thing in different relationships, right? Different relationship with a different person could bring the same lesson if you're not healing those wounds. So we could talk about, the feelings of resentment there. We could talk about conflicts coming up related to a wounded ego. There could be jealousy issues, things like that are really coming up. But this is really a test here for you. It's like the universe is presenting this to you, and you're really trying to pass the test. This is inevitably what this is are you going to pass the test, or are you going to stay at that same level? So if this is presenting for you and you bring it up, you have conversations, and you're trying to really actively heal it and prevent that from happening again in the future, you're going to level up. If you are pushing those feelings down and hiding them, and that is, something that you're avoiding, then ultimately, even if you get into a different relationship, you're bound to repeat some of those same patterns, right? It's almost as if you're staying in the same level, and you ultimately will again be tested by the universe to see, did you learn your lesson, kind of thing, right? So this is about you really cultivating awareness, self-awareness, and understanding where your needs lie and desires, and really, really feel very strongly here that this Venus retrograde is about our desires, okay? So this is about what we're yearning for, we're longing for, things that we're wanting to bring in, and we can't bring them in until we're ready, okay? And so this could really highlight where there are shortcomings within your relationships, within your emotional availability or that other person's emotional availability. And I really feel here that there is this longing, this intense longing for this like equal give and take. You want someone investing equally in you as you are investing in them and into the relationship, so that nobody is pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring so that their cup empties and they're feeling tired and exhausted because they're putting so much into it, and then feeling like they're not getting enough back, right? They also need to feel as though they're getting enough back from the relationship, because if they're not, they're ultimately going to be depleted, feel exhausted. It's going to lead to a lot more conflict, right? And so this is really where this is about gathering that inner strength, right? This could be strength to walk away. This could be strength to pour your emotion into the right spaces and fill your own cup back up enough where you're investing just a little less to allow this equal give and take, right? If you're constantly pouring into that person, are you giving that person an opportunity to pour back into? Are you allowing that space where that person has to come to you and then ultimately make that gesture, right? But if you're constantly making that effort, it's not giving them the chance or opportunity to do so, right? So it's about, not being tired of almost fighting for the love, right? But putting yourself first a little bit, okay? So perhaps you have been pouring into that for too long and you're feeling like it's going nowhere. And so you want to just effort a little less, step back a little bit, and you realize that in doing so, you'll no longer be tolerating things that you don't deserve, right? You're waiting for that person to step up. And if they don't, this is where you ultimately will have to make that choice. Is this going to be a sacrifice where, yes, you know that you love the person, but if they are not going to step up for you, then that is not for you, right? You know you have to think about what your needs and desires are. And if it is not, your expectations are not being met, then that is ultimately a choice that lies with you. Same with even outside of relationships, think about job, right? Even if that job is not giving back to you, if you're working 60 hours a week and you're salaried and you have so much time into this and it's just too much, you never have time for your own life, things like that. If you're not feeling like you're getting the pay that you deserve or the recognition that you deserve, those are about your own life choices. This is really where that worthiness and finances kind of come into play, where it's being highlighted as well. Okay, so this is really a space here in this Venus retrograde where we can spring into like a new eternal life almost, where I just sense we are stepping into this new space of like hope and joy, renewed confidence, even that we have the one available to us when it comes to our relationships, and that this person exists, not only exists, but is going to show up for you, and you'll just start moving in peace and joy and confidence and, knowing and trusting, having faith that it will all work out for you. And then as you do that, more and more magic starts to show up in terms of your dating life. I really feel like your dating life could inspire you. It could bring more and more renewed hope, because each person that you're meeting, you're seeing little bit more here and there within these people, these potential matches for you, that you're like, wow, okay, this is available to me. This is perfect, except I want this now, Spirit, right? And you're starting to manifest and co-create with the universe to really bring your true match into you. Draw it to you. So I really feel like this is about seeing the potential that's there and all that's available to you, all that you've ever really wanted in a partner. And you're starting to see this as more of an adventure and a journey and less of like a chore, right? When you're feeling overwhelmed and daunted by dating, take a break from it, because if you are going into it with that energy, it's just not conducive to the magic and joy that you're really trying to have within your love life, right? You want it to feel light. You want it to feel airy and fun, right? And joyful and pleasurable. You don't want it to feel, ugh, right? So I don't even know a word for it, but just ugh. So, it will be leading you closer and closer to your desired destination, though ultimately you are seeking, and each date will show you exactly what you want and what you don't want. And even if you aren't finding the one on each of those dates, you are getting clearer and clearer vision of what it is that you're looking for, hoping for, and feeling as though it's more and more within your reach. Okay? So this is about our flow state. Okay, when I talk about that, this is understanding that if we are acknowledging the absence of love, then we are then ultimately accentuating that absence of that love going forward. Okay, so if we are constantly focused on the fact that we have an absence of a partner, absence of love within our life that we want so badly, and something that we deserve, right? It's just going to yield more and more of its absence. So in the meantime, it's best to really just focus on loving yourself to the best of your ability, treating yourself right, expressing gratitude, seeing kindness all around you, maybe even expressing kindness to others, because then that will start to draw more and more of that to you, and you're going to see more of that from other people. And so doing things that make you happy every day. I think that we are in a space where we do a lot of things that we do every day just because we simply feel obligated to do that. We spend a lot of time fulfilling those obligations, and it doesn't always feel great because we don't necessarily want to be doing those things. We're not invested in those things. So this is about flipping that around and really making yourself a priority, your needs a priority, your desires a priority, and making that at the forefront every single day. So doing things intentionally every single day that you choose to do, you want to do, and that is how you're really filling your own cup back up as well. So give back to yourself, and ultimately this will yield new ideas, new foundations, and will really ultimately bring in this whole new level of stability for you. Okay, and know that this stability, though, it comes almost with a little bit of a price, right? Where with that inner work you have to work with, don't be afraid, because there will be bringing up the fear here. It will be bringing up the fear, right? This fear of uncertainty, a fear of an unknown outcome. Once you tap into those levels of creativity and magic and flow, there is a certain element of faith, of stepping forward, not knowing exactly how things are going to turn out, stepping forward, not knowing exactly where you're going next, right? But once you start taking those actions and following your internal guidance system, things will start to fall into place for you, so to speak, and all of the path will be set before you as you take each step. So you will never not know ultimately what you need to do. You may not know why you're doing it, but you'll be doing it, and then you'll see this beautiful pattern or picture kind of show up, and you're like, aha, I know exactly why I'm doing this and where I'm going, and it will all show up, and you'll know exactly what it's supposed to look like, and you'll know by the feeling, right? Even though it feels a little uncomfortable to be stepping out in that uncertainty, you'll have a sense of peace about it, right? You'll have a sense of peace because you will be following your intuition all along, your intuition along the way, okay? So doing that, it will never steer you wrong, okay? So that is the best advice that anybody could ever give you, to follow that path all along. But coming into this new stability, new foundations, and really a sense of fulfillment. So I love that for us. So I hope that this works out well for you. I hope that this resonates for you in some way, shape, or form. Thank you so much for watching, and happy Venus retrograde in Leo. Thank you so much. I'll be back with another read for you guys again soon. Take care.